The story begins with a woman who is in labor and is about to give birth to twins. Her grandmother urgently warns her that dawn is almost upon them and that she must not deliver the children yet. To everyone standing nearby, the warning sounds outrageous and almost absurd, but the grandmother refuses to back down. She insists that, however impossible it may sound, the mother has to keep holding on, because these children are destined to be the ones who will command the demon. When the twins are finally born, a man stands before them with deep regret written across his face, realizing that the children who will sever day and night from one another have now entered the world. 16 years pass, and one of the twins, Yuru, is out in the forest on a hunt. There, he brings down a pheasant with perfect precision, using only a single arrow to do it cleanly. Afterward, he rides back home on horseback, where his brother Danji comes over to meet him. Danji is immediately annoyed that Yuru has gone hunting all by himself again without taking him along. He reminds Yuru that if anything were to happen to him out in the mountains, there would be no one around to come and help. Yuru, however, does not think the danger is all that serious, since the divine guardians on his left and right are always there to protect him. Danji's concern disappears almost instantly when he notices that Yuru brought back a pheasant, which means dinner will be grilled meat. As the brothers make their way back toward the villagers greet them warmly along the road. The friendliness and familiarity of those greetings make it obvious just how deeply loved the twins are by everyone in the community and how central they are to village life. Once they get home, their grandmother immediately calls Danji over and tells him to help chop firewood. Danji is not in the mood for chores though and takes off running as fast as he can, trying to avoid the work. Yuru then asks his grandmother about Asaf, and she replies that she is doing well and continuing to carry out her duty properly, exactly as she always does. Yuru heads inside and finds his sister Asa sitting inside a cage. She welcomes him back from the hunt, and Yuru begins telling her about his day, explaining proudly how he managed to catch a pheasant. She is genuinely impressed by the story, but Yuru is still not pleased with himself, saying that he had hoped to bring back something bigger, like a boar or a deer. Because there has not been much rain that year, Yuru starts to worry about the harvest. He assumes that there will be less food available for everyone, so he will need to hunt more often if he wants to keep the pantry stocked. Hearing this, Asa wonders aloud whether the adults in the village will eventually leave and go out into the world to find work. When Yuru tells her that this is a real possibility, she asks whether he would go too. He turns sharply toward her and says he would not, because that is exactly why he trained himself to hunt in the first place. His plan is simple. If he can become useful enough to the village, there will be no reason for him to leave like the others. He tells Asa not to worry because nothing in this world is going to make him abandon the village, and no matter what happens, he will always be there with her to keep her safe. Asa is relieved and comforted by those words. Right at that moment, their mother comes in and tells Yuru that Dara is here. Dara is seen upstairs trading with the villagers, using goods he brought in from the outside world. When the villagers ask him what things are like beyond the village, he tells them that the economy is in terrible condition and that a pandemic is spreading outside as well. When Yuru arrives, Dara casually tosses him a ball meant for a baby because he already knows Yuru never asks for anything for himself and only ever requests souvenirs to bring back for his sister. Yuru admits that this is true and goes over to trade the feathers from the pheasant he caught earlier. After Dara leaves, Yuru and Danji get to work on the farm. While they are working side by side, Danji begins talking about how badly he wants to leave the village and go out into the outside world. In his mind, the outside must be something truly special because people who leave tend never to come back. Yuru feels the complete opposite. He says he wants to spend the rest of his life right there in the village. Danji assumes that this is because of his sister and suggests that Yuru should just leave and take Asa along with him. Yuru responds that being around him would only bring shame to Asa. Yuru reminds Danji that Asa has a very important duty to carry out. Once Danji actually stops and thinks about it, he realizes that he has never met Asa before. Yuru explains that this is because she is only permitted to meet certain people and not ordinary folk like him. That answer gets Danji heated, and the two of them go back and forth arguing until they suddenly hear a loud sound coming from above. Both of them look up at the sky, and Yuru spots what look like white lines of smoke trailing across it. He casually assumes those streaks must be dragon farts. The sound keeps getting louder, and Yuru remembers hearing something similar while he was hunting in the mountains not long ago. The two brothers start to believe it must really be a dragon, so they begin preparing themselves for a fight. Then, all at once, someone casts a spell that releases what appears to be an energy pulse, shattering the village barrier. When Yuru and Danji look up again, they realize that the white smoke is actually coming from an airplane. Shortly after that, helicopters sweep into the area and begin surveying the land below. The villagers stare at the aircraft overhead with complete confusion, unable to understand what they are seeing, and panic starts to spread through the settlement. Men in military uniforms are then sent in, and they begin cutting down and shooting every villager they come across without hesitation. Even Dara, who was on his way out of the village at the time, is unlucky enough to get swept into the chaos and is shot from behind. The villagers are still in shock, so they rush to Granny Yamaha and demand to know what is happening. She tells them that their barriers have been broken through and that she believes the enemy's target is probably Yuru. She orders the villagers to find Yuru as fast as they can and get him hidden somewhere safe. The moment they hear that, they split up and rush off immediately to search for him. Meanwhile, Yuru and Danji arrive at the village square and find it covered in bodies. They stand there for only a brief moment, trying to process the horror before them. Then both turn and run back home, desperately hoping their families are still alive. On the way, they run into a pair of soldiers who spot Yuru and call out that they have found him. Yuru fires a couple of arrows at them, and he and Danji move in together to knock both soldiers out before they continue on. Yuru wonders whether the flying machines might actually be dragons after all. When they reach the guardian statues, Danji mentions that his mother is most likely still working at the keep. Yuru begins shifting rocks out of the way and asks Danji to help him. After a short while, the two of them uncover a hidden shortcut that leads straight to the keep. Danji is completely thrown off by this discovery, since he has lived in the village his entire life and never had any idea that such a passage existed. Meanwhile, on the other side of the village, the helicopters drop down a blonde girl named Gabby, who appears fully confident that she can handle everyone around her all by herself. She then unleashes her magic gobble technique, cutting through villager after villager with nothing more than a flick of her hand. When it is all over, she pops a piece of gum into her mouth and pulls out her phone so she can contact the ground squad. To her surprise, she gets no response whatsoever. That is because Dara did not die after all and managed to take out the entire ground squad on his own. He pulls out his phone and calls Hana, telling her that they need to change the meeting point because he believes Asa has shown up. Meanwhile, over near the area where Asa's cage is kept, a girl walks in while dragging Yuru's grandmother behind her across the ground. She spots Asa inside the cage and looks at her with utter disgust, calling her a sick joke. She then stretches out her hand and releases a burst of energy that destroys the cage and tears Asa across the face, killing her. Yuru bursts into the room and asks whether Asa is alright. The girl answers with a slight smirk and addresses Yuru as her brother. She tells him that she is the real Asa, that she has come to take him with her, and that she is going to kill everyone here except for him. Yuru is left in complete disbelief after hearing such a claim. Still, he quickly pulls himself together and tells her there is no way someone like her could be his sister. He shoots an arrow straight at her, but she blocks it with magic, causing a small explosion in the process. Meanwhile, Dara uses a pistol he picked up to take out any soldiers he runs into as he pushes deeper into the village. That is when he comes across Gabby, who has a demon with enormous teeth, and she is shocked that he is able to see it. Dara fires a couple of shots at the creature, but its teeth are too tough to be stopped by bullets. Then, while Gabby lets her guard down for a moment, Dara hurls a grenade that catches her completely off guard and drags her right into the blast. At the same time, the girl, claiming to be Asa, is caught off guard by how large the explosion she caused actually was, especially because all she intended to do was stop the arrow Yuru fired. The ball that Dara gave Yuru then rolls over through Asa's blood on the floor, and the blood coagulates into a demon that reaches out and restrains the girl in place. Yuru's grandmother then calls out to Dara and tells him to get Yuru out of there, take him to the outside world, and make sure they never find him. Dara does exactly as he is told and gets Yuru out of the village. Meanwhile, while Danji is checking on his wounded mother, Yuru goes rushing past in Dara's arms, which leaves Danji even more confused about what is happening. Shortly after, Dara and Yuru reach the end of the shortcut, and Dara tells him that they are heading to the outside world right now and that they are going to begin by making their way down the mountain. But Yuru is still completely lost and keeps asking Dara to explain what is happening. Dara says there is no time for explanations and tries to push forward in order to get them out of there, but it is already too too late because they have been spotted and bullets start flying at them. Dara realizes that they have missed their window to escape cleanly. So he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a green necklace. He tells Yuru to place it into the gap between the left and right guardian statues. Yuru is confused by the instruction at first, but Dara just yells at him to do it without asking questions. So Yuru grabs the necklace and runs over to put it in place. Even though Yuru is completely out in the open and within range of the sniper holds his shot because the orders are to bring Yuru back alive. Once the necklace is in place, Dara rushes over and slams Yuru's face down onto it, getting his blood on the necklace. With that done, the sniper no longer has any reason to spare Dara and lines up the shot, ready to pull the trigger. But right at that moment, the necklace begins to glow and a bright flash of light bursts out. After it fades, two golden beings appear in the sky and tear through the helicopters in an instant, sending them crashing down to the ground while Dara grabs Yuru and runs. The two of them get away just in time. Gabby watches the helicopters go down and screams in frustration because now she has no way of getting back home. Even so, she can sense that someone's demons have shown up and she finds herself wondering just whose they are. Meanwhile, after everything settles, two beings with red and white hair are seen standing on top of the helicopter. They take note of the fact that their master this time around is just a child. But even so, they understand that no matter what, they have no choice but to obey their master without question. Dara then speaks to Yuru and tells him that these two are his demons. That was episode 1. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and join the squad by subscribing. More epic content is coming your way. Stay sharp, stay ready, and I'll see you in the next video.